Philipp Plein, a designer fragrance with a niche scent profile that will make you smell like a rock star or a bad boy, coming up. Hello YouTube, hello dear Fragmatics, welcome to another review. Today we go dark. With Philipp Plein No Limits, Eau de Parfum. An amber spicy fragrance for men launched in 2020 with the nose behind being Alberto Morillas. Let's start with the presentation. You have this black box, which many would consider it kitsch or at least sketchy, with a hologram on the front side and this honeycomb pattern on all sides, as you can see. To get to the fragrance, you just need to slide this upper side, and let me show you a close-up of the bottle, which looks like the credit card of a rich guy, at least on the front side. And on the back you have nothing, and on top you have the atomizer. And I know, although this looks like a cheap clone fragrance, this is a designer fragrance with niche quality juice inside. Let's go to Fragmaticus to look at the scent profile. The main accords are warm spicy, leather, woody, amber, smoky, vanilla, chocolate, animalic, fresh spicy and sweet. When it comes to notes, to continue with their sketchy way of presenting this fragrance, Philipp Plein invented their own notes, so I will try to present them in parallel with those from Fragmaticus. So when you go to Fragmaticus or you go to Philipp Plein, you have the following notes. On the top, or how they call it on the official Philipp Plein website, high voltage energy, you have aquatic notes or watery notes, bergamot and ginger. We continue on the top, but we change for money on the Philipp Plein website. You have black pepper, cardamom, cinnamon, and cloves and star anise. In the middle, or how they call it inside the Philipp Plein universe, sex and addition notes, you have dark chocolate, bourbon black vanilla, incense, and black amber. In the base, or muscle and power notes, how they call it on the other side, you have something from another galaxy, which is called high-tech laser woods, or just woody notes for us simple people. And also you have leather, you have wood, Agarwood, and you have patchouli and cedar. Before we start to analyze the scent profile, let me answer the obvious question, since this is looking like a clone fragrance. Is this a copycat of something else? Well, it's not. It reminds you of 3 other fragrances, but is not at all a copycat of those. So it reminds you of Gucci Guilty Absolute, but is not as potent or animalic as that one. This is a more accessible scent. Also it reminds you of Fragrance One Black Tie from Jeremy Fragrance, but it's sweeter than that one. And also from far away, it reminds you of Amen, Angel for Men from Thierry Mugler. How it smells? First of all, it smells expensive and complex. If you ignore the tacky bottle and the in-your-face presentation, you have a designer fragrance with a niche scent profile for the price of a cheap clone. In better days, you can get this for 40 euros or $40, and most of the time you can get it for $45 or euros. This is a spice bomb with a balanced scent profile between sweet and dark notes, and with a black leather and warm smoke sensation. You add to that some minty wood, and you also add some depth from the Agarwood and Patchouli. To give you an image of how this fragrance smells, if Tom Shelby from Peaky Blinders showed his fragrance collection, for sure this one will be one of his top picks. Before we go deep into the scent profile, let's test the atomizer, which is very good. It's a great one, and it's a pressurized one. It sprays a good load and a fine mist. If it's your first time here on this channel, Fragmaticus, yes, we don't spray perfumes on classic paper testers. We only spray fragrances on clothes and, of course, on the skin. Why? Because you will do the same. You will never take a pack of testers, put them on you and spray perfumes on the tester and just go out like that. Let's go deep and analyze the evolution of the scent profile. When you first take contact with this, at the first sniff, you don't expect this scent profile from this fragrance. This is not your everyday get used to scent profile. This is a combination of darkness and sweetness, and it has a niche vibe inside. Let me describe it. It opens up with a flash of citruses and ginger. To give you an idea, some of you, the older ones, you might remember those photography cameras with those big flashes, especially if you are 35 and plus. You remember that in the old times, when someone took a photo of you, you got that flash in your eyes and it made you go blind for a few seconds. Well, you get the same sensation. That flash from the citruses, it completely opens your nose, makes you feel like your nose is about to explode. That sensation goes away very fast, like 5 seconds later. It doesn't last. And this is something to open to prepare your nose for what's coming. And trust me, it's a lot. Right away, you have the grenade, the spice bomb, which is thrown in your nose, with the cinnamon, with the cloves and pepper leading the way for the dark chocolate note to reveal. Almost in the same time, you have the leather accord developing in the background, but this is not your usual Tom Ford or similar fragrance leather accord. This is different. You will not get bored. This is more like a black leather accord. After the big grenade of spice is thrown in your nose in the opening, the dark chocolate and the black leather accord, you finally get something sweet. Vanilla is starting to show up to complement those dark notes. Also, in the same time, you have the amber starting to show up, and to cut all the edges from all the contrast fighting around, and to envelope the fragrance to give a warm sensation. When you get to the middle, spices start to faint away and you only get cinnamon and cloves. The dark chocolate note is at full power and dominates the fragrance alongside with the black leather accord. In the same time, you still get that sweetness from the vanilla and that warm sensation from the amber, which also helps with another thing. The amber note also helps the incense note to be a warm smoky note, which is very good in this fragrance. The minty note from the agarwood starts to show up, and this note is not medicinal at all, meaning that they used high quality ingredients in this fragrance. And in the same time, you have the cedar note starting to show up to add some manliness and power to the fragrance. In the dry down, you still get the cloves with a faint touch from the cinnamon. The dark chocolate is getting weaker, but the leather accord continues, and I must remember this is not your usual leather accord you get in most of the fragrances. This is a black leather accord with a lot of darkness, and it continues in the background. It's present for the entire lifespan of the fragrance, and in the same time you have a warm smoke sensation. The warm smoky note leaves the incense behind, and it transforms itself into a more burnt wood note, like the smell, the sensation you get when you pour water on burning wood to make coals. And that note, that warm smoky note, it's magnificent. You can still detect the sweetness from the vanilla note in the dry down, but it's a more of a blurred vanilla note. It's not as powerful, as potent as it was in the opening or in the middle. In the same time, you still get that mintiness, which dies with the fragrance, continues over the period of the dry down, and you get some cedar and patchouli to give some depth. Now, to resume all the things I just said about Philipp Plein No Limits, I can say that this is a dark, sweet, spicy, leathery and smoky fragrance, a niche quality fragrance into a designer bottle. This fragrance, it's ideal for the bad boy with an old school attitude of I don't care, on which you sprinkle some dark gothic vibes. I want to tell you something special about this fragrance. If you want to pair this with something, take a manly attitude in dark clothes and spice it with some narcissism. You smell like a rock star. although this fragrance has many things happening and many transitions, there is nothing out of order. It's an organized disorder. When it comes to performance, this is a good fragrance. You can get at least 7 hours with very good projection in the first 3 hours. But depending on how much you spray, you can boost these numbers. When it comes to sillage, you can get like around 1 meter or 3 feet in the first 3 hours. And after that, it stays close to you, like around 50 centimeters or 1 feet, 1.5 feet. When do you apply Philipp Plein No Limits? You wear this fragrance in situations where you want to make a statement. You want to show off and to be perceived as different, as not to be played around. I recommend dark clothes, gothic style, biker style, formal wear, and of course, Tom Shelby. When you look at the current state of the fragrance market, with the ocean of fresh aquatics, Aventus clones and PDMs, this is an oasis of darkness and manliness. Philipp Plein No Limits, it's for sure not a panty dropper, but you'll be the rebel in the crowd. I imagine the male version of Wednesday wearing this as a day fragrance. When it comes to age, in my opinion, you need to be at least 30 years old and you need to assume wearing this, because this is not a crowd-pleasing fragrance. Philipp Plein No Limits, it's an exclusive fragrance for men. Sorry ladies, I know. But there is something strange happening with this fragrance. Although it's a 100% manly scent, men don't like it as much as women do when they smell it on men. And I think it's a good thing in the end. And now the big question, to buy or not to buy? Is this a safe blind buy? No, by any means no, it's not a safe blind buy. Like I told you, this is a niche quality fragrance packed into a sketchy and kitsch looking designer bottle, but still the juice inside, it's amazing. This is more for the mature noses. This is not for the beginners. This is not for the people looking for a perfume for everyday use. Now, from another point of view, and considering other aspects, when it comes to price, you get niche quality for the price of a clone. So it's a good bargain to step out of your comfort zone and to go into the niche zone fragrances. And that's all for today, my dear Fragmatics. I want to take a moment and to say a special thank you from the bottom of my heart to all my current subscribers. Thank you again, you are the best. And if it's your first time here and you stayed until the end of this video, it means that I'm doing something good, something you like, something that helps you. So I invite you to hit that subscribe button and to leave me your feedback. And of course, if you like this video, to hit that thumbs up button. Thank you for watching, thank you for being here, and see you next time.